Well, it's been a little while since we spoke, hasn't it? And now look what I've done. Yeah, Porsche 928. If you remember the last time we spoke, I said we were going to do something in the affordable range. But I also said that the Boxster really wasn't working for us. Bomber Command inside said that she wanted something that was a bit easier to use. And so I thought, well, this might fit the bill. So Porsche 928, I've always wanted one of these. Always wanted one of these. And I went on a look for one, and it is a difficult market at the moment, actually. These things are not cheap. In fact, nothing is cheap. But good old Craigslist came to the rescue again, and we found this lovely 928. So what is it? Well, it is a Euro 1985 928S with 75,000 miles on it. And I got it from a guy in Detroit and had it shipped down, and I've hardly looked at it since it arrived here the day before yesterday. Now, the eagle-eyed of you will notice a huge scrape on the front here, and this is what happened when it was delivered. Let me show you the video here, then you'll see what happened, which makes me cross because this is a pretty nice car. We'll get you in here and have a look at it, but it is actually not in too bad shape, I think. I'm no mechanical expert, as you guys know, but it's not in too bad shape, so that actually is really frustrating. This is Prussian blue, the colour here, chaps, but let me show you around. Well, chaps, yeah, not good, really. Bit of a shame for an old thing like this, but it is what it is. So I had a good look around for one of these, and honestly, you can spend what you want. You could spend £3,000 on something that is in pieces. You could spend 85 grand on a GTS, and I didn't want to do that. I want to keep it affordable. Years ago, you used to be able to get these much more affordably, but also I didn't really want to get the underpowered, I think, US version of this car. So in 1985, actually this would have been a 288 32 valve 5 litre engine, whereas this particular car is actually a 16 valve engine with a 4.7 litre engine, putting out 310 horsepower because it is the Euro one. Outside, it is not too bad, aside from our mark here on the front. I haven't washed it yet, but if we look around, it's got the manhole covers. Those wheels are called manhole covers in Porsche language. I don't actually care for them very much, so we might change those as we go through on this car. But when I polish it up, I don't think it'll be too bad. There are some areas of it, like here for example, where the clear coat has come off, which is a bit of a pain in the backside, but I'm hoping we can maybe fix that up or get that a little touched up a little bit. Otherwise, it's just here and there, just through use. I think it's a pretty original car. As you can see, I got it from Michigan, and it was imported from Germany in '02. It spent time in Texas. So it has spent the last 12 years up in Michigan, but before that, a little bit of time in Texas. And you can see here somebody's had a horrible go at trying to do that, which is not very good, but it's okay. You know, the aim with my cars, a lot of these cars that we do cheap, is to see if we can run them, you know, affordably. And that's going to be the aim with this one. You know, I've done my best to buy well, but, you know, we'll see. This would have been, I suppose, these days, if it was new, a $150,000 car. And it might cost the equivalent of a $150,000 car to run. But we'll see as we go. So let's take you inside the car and show you inside. Well, chaps, this could be about the bluest car I've ever sat in my life. Everything on this car is blue. It has got everybody's favourite gearbox, the automatic gearbox. And it has a radio, but that doesn't work, so that's good. Or rather, it does work, but it's got the code Wants me to enter a code. I don't have that, so that's good. It has a working heater, but the air conditioning doesn't work, and that's on the old system of R12 as well, so that's good. It has what I would call the smallest sunroof in the world. It's less than a foot long. That's a bit pointless, but inside it's much bigger than the Boxster, and it's comfortable as well. You could go for miles and miles in this car, and probably I will, or at least until it breaks down anyway. So let's get you in and have a closer look. So we are in the realm of quirky 80s-tastic here. This is the rear hatch release. Nope, that doesn't work. This adjusts the headlights up and down depending on whether you're carrying a load, I guess, although I can't imagine why you'd be carrying a load in a Porsche 928. I have no idea what that does. I know that doesn't work. I haven't tested that, so I'm just going to assume that doesn't work either. When we get inside, what you find is that this, in fact, this driver's seat is actually a passenger's seat. The real driver's seat is in my garage, and it needs reupholstering. So does this one. It's got a nasty crack in it. And the electric seat controls are in there. So that's great. Here you can see our little stamps which show what the car is, Prussian blue and the VIN and everything else. So it's a quirky car. There is that sunroof, which is the smallest sunroof in the world. Then when we get in the driver's seat, let's get in here. Look at that. Nice Porsche steering wheel. I actually have, with the car, the horn button here which says 928S on it instead of Porsche, which somebody else has swapped out. I don't know why they would do that, but otherwise these dials sometimes work, which is useful. Not all the time. This binnacle, I'll show it to you, it's the classic sort of Porsche 928 party trick, goes up and down with the steering wheel, but unfortunately sometimes that disconnects the tachometer there and doesn't work, so that's interesting. Otherwise, internally, the dash, or this part of the dash, has not cracked. Yay! Which is really good. The actual condition of the interior is in pretty nice shape, actually, for a 1985 car. The leather in the back is in really nice condition. The passenger seat, really nice condition. As you can see, the leather is firm and not supple, so it needs some work on it, some moisturizing, but we'll get there. It even has a leather roof, which is also in really good shape. And I don't know whether you know this, but if you are a quadruple amputee and you're sitting in the back, you need to ask someone to put your sun visor down, which of course then goes straight in your face. And as a quadruple amputee, there's very little you can do about that until somebody puts it back up. Let's show you the back. Okay guys, let's go in here. We have to use our key. And there we have it. It's spent time in Texas, so I seem to have purple carpet instead of blue. But we're not going to worry about that. We got a bit of sun damage on the top of the seat here, which has been repaired terribly. So that's good. At the back we have some people who like rear wipers on their Porsches, and we know who you are will enjoy this, because look how well engineered this is. Have you seen how well engineered that is? That is marvellous. This will all come back. It's very grey at the moment, but we can put something on that and make it come back. And there we are. So let's see what this thing sounds like, shall we? Big burbly V8. And inside we have a working tachometer at the moment with good oil pressure. We have a brake light, Bremslicht, and a water light, wash, yeah. and an economy meter. I can't imagine we'll be bothering that, even if it moves. Oh, it will do, it'll go up. Because it's not the, it's in litres per 100 kilometres. Oh, that sounds throaty. Oh, I'm tempting fate by opening this, but ooh, it opens rather nicely. Well, that's rather nice, isn't it? Let's see if it shuts. But it doesn't. Oh, it does. Oh, there we go. A working sunroof. Wow. And one of the other things I think is a bit over-engineered and possibly a bit 1985 is the door pocket. Look at that. An opening door pocket. You can put your arm on it as well. How about that? Don't get that in a modern Porsche. Well, why don't we take it for a spin and see what it can do? Now, this is somebody else's car, really. I mean, yes, I own it, but I have no idea whether the brakes are any good, whether it steers, none of that. So the best thing we should do is really not to drive it. So we'll take it out for a spin and see what it's like. Well, as you saw, it started well, and it seems to drive okay at the moment. It's so nice being out in one of these. I've always wanted one of these. It's such a nice car. Now, this particular one, we're going to have to take our time with and do it up over time. It is not perfect, very far from it. It's a Craigslist special. Not the cheapest one I could find. Neither is it the most expensive one either. Let's see what the brakes are like. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yep. Won't need to turn right using the steering wheel anyway, so that's good. Yeah, that's not ideal. The ride is, you can feel the ride. I was expecting to be a bit more insulated than I am, maybe, but that could just be because of old shock absorber struts, whatever you want to call them. I'm not gonna, we've got a bit of temperature going into it. We'll give it the beans and see what it feels like. Let's go. Something fell off? No, it was a stone, I think. I think we're okay. Seems to shift alright. Give it a minute or two to warm up, maybe a little bit more before we do that again. It's comfortable though. My word, it's comfortable. It's more comfortable than the Boxster. If you remember, the Boxster had this wall right behind the front seats, which means you couldn't get your seat back as far as you would like it. And then even if you did, you were sitting bolt upright. This is much more of a GT car, I would say. And don't forget, this car has rear wheel steering. Yes, 1985, this car, all 928s, I believe. Tell me in the comments below if I'm wrong, but I think I'm right in saying this has the Weissach and axle, which is a passive rear steering setup. So it does help you go around corners a bit easier. Now, I'm yet to feel that, and I don't even know if it works on this particular car, but it should help it handle well. It goes around corners okay. Goes around corners fine. It makes a lovely sound. We've got good oil pressure. It's warming up. We've still got our brake light on. And our Vash W something. Wash water. That's what it means. That's what it means. I'm keeping my sunroof closed because I tempted fate once before, and I think there will be a situation where I open that. Of course it doesn't shut. So, oh, we've lost our tachometer. That's just decided to have a little rest. It wasn't really overdoing it, but it needed a rest, so if I go, no, that didn't work. Alright, well, we're in traffic now. We can hear, we can time our gears and let it do it itself. That works fine. Alright, off we go, and let's give it the beans again. Got a bit of go to it for an old girl. We're not going to be leaving too many modern Porsches behind, I don't think, but who cares? We're in a 928 and we're happy. We love our 928. to get some work into this car. So I think the steering has got a bit of shake to it, honestly. It's not shake, but it's not as precise as it could be. And that braking makes me worry. You know, it's somebody else's brakes, I don't know, the brake light's on. Yeah, I'm going to worry about that, but we'll get that done. Or maybe I'll do it myself. We'll see, we'll see. The transmission, I think, probably could do with a fluid change. It's not as crisp as I would like it to be, and kicking down and getting up the rev range and what have you. So we'll look at that. I think probably all the fluids need to be changed on this car. You know, I think it's from the guy who owned it before me. He said he didn't really use it very much at all in 12 years. I think he put on 3,000 or 4,000 miles in 12 years, he told me. So it needs going through, I think, as well. It is dropping something on the garage floor as well, which is a good sign, of course, because that's how I tell it's still got some fluids in it. So I'm glad about that. In the next episode, what we're going to do is take it to my friend Matt's garage at Collector Car Services in Danbury. Matt looks after my MG. I've seen him working on 928s in the past, and I just think that would be a good home for this car to be repaired. So I'm going to ask him to go through it and have a little look at it. The tyres on this car are from 2013, so that's good because they'll be nice and hard and they'll give lots of extra grip, which is, you know, useful. I think that's how that works. So it needs new tyres, which will get done. So tyres, brakes. I'm expecting suspension. As I said before, it's not too bad, but you know, you want to keep it tight. The exhaust sounds really nice and burbly. I don't know what's going on down there, whether that's working. We'll get that looked at. Steering feels, I talked about the steering already, and then I think it just needs a really good clean before we start modifying it. So I think what we're going to do is take it to Matt's garage. We're going to get him to look at the stuff that absolutely needs to be done. I'm also expecting a lot of the hoses and things will be past their best and starting to split and leak and that kind of thing, which could be a living hell. So I'm going to brace myself for that. So I think that's the plan with this car. We're going to get it to a good driver standard like I did with the Boxster. I've also got to get that front scrape sorted out. Now that's going to be a bit of a nightmare all by itself because I'm worried that, you know, the paint on this was original and new paint, I don't know if that's going to match very well. I'm not sure you can just get away with doing, you know, just that scrape or whether you'll need to expand it. Let me know in the comments below what your view is. You know, some of you guys may have repaired paint and stuff in the past and I don't know. So that would just be super helpful if you can give me your advice. And if any of you guys are 928 people, give me your advice. I want to know, I want to hear. We're going to do a series on this car. I don't know what I'm doing, do I? I've never claimed to be a mechanic. I'm going to do a few things myself and I'm probably going to get Matt to do a few things. So I don't know. So, you know, you give me all your advice in the comments below. But we bought ourselves a hairy-chested, red meat-eating car here. There's nothing hairdressery about it. I got a lot of hairdressers' comments, unfairly I thought, about the Boxster. No, I'm not a hairdresser. I'm now a red meat-eating, eat it whilst it's running away from you kind of guy, and that's what this car is. And in fact, we need a nickname for this car, don't we? So what's hairy-chested? If this car was a human being, it would have a moustache, and therefore this car is going to be known as Burt Reynolds from now on. If you'll pardon the expression, we are in Burt Reynolds. Burt Reynolds is going to look better than he does now by the time we've finished. So enough of my drivel. We'll look forward to the next episode together where we dig into it a bit more. This was just a quick look-see and a quick drive of the new Porsche in the fleet, and which I hope you enjoyed. If you did, do a bloke a favour